Hello, I am Lauren-Blair Donovan. This is Creepy and Kooky Cali vlog, and you know her, you love her. Another third timer on here, Lacy Hornick.
Hi!
And as always, we got Lady Grimaldi, who's being actually pretty quiet.
Being very good
hopefully
right
we
now.
got the sillies out. She was not quiet when we met up.
Yeah.
But that's because she loves her Aunt Lacy.
Oh, I love you too, Kimmy. Yeah, she's chill now.
Yeah, there we go. Probably because you pet her and held her for a minute, and then she was like, I want to go back to mom. She's like, I don't need to complain anymore. But we are here at Westwood Memorial Park, and we did the first episode we did together, third episode of the series.
Right.
Second episode of a cemetery, which I'm excited to come back to because
There's so many people here.
we miss people that like were on our list. We just forgot to, because we got so many people on the first try that it wasn't until after the fact. It's like, oh, we missed a few people. And I was still new at this, so I glossed over like, Carol O'Connor's grave, Farrah Fawcett.
I was just like, check.
I'm like, cool grave, bye. They were literally surrounded by like Walter Matthau and a couple other people.
It's kind of a lot.
Yeah, I was overstimulated, and wasn't quite a pro at this yet. So we'll probably revisit a few graves. But there's at least 10, I think, that we're potentially going to find today, which is crazy because this is a small cemetery.
Yeah, it really is. It's like even smaller than you remembered. And then when I came in here, I was like, oh yeah. There's also the mausoleum areas. I think it sounds terrible, but I'm like, they know how to utilize this space and get the most bang for their buck.
No, it's a compact cemetery. It's like a New York City block. They just
It is. It's a great analogy.
But it's literally the size of maybe even smaller than a New York City block.
True.
It's insane how small this is.
It's funny.
Because when I pulled up, she was saying, I was telling her off camera, I'm like, I thought I just made up how small it was in my head. I'm like, there's no way. It must be bigger than I think. No, it's smaller. Hi, and I'm sorry. We just said you were doing so good.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. So, hopefully, since I'm excited to be here because I've been to way too many bigger cemeteries. So it'll be nice to already have our bearings.
Yeah, true.
And it'll just be about nitty gritty trying to find people. So we're going to have some fun. So Lacy got here a few minutes before me and immediately found Don Knotts.
Don Knotts.
Which is an amazing grave, and you were joking. It's just funny that we missed it.
Yeah, it's pretty
Distinctive.
yeah, not in a bad way. I think it's actually very nicely done in terms of the roles that he was most loved for, but it's not like gaudy.
No.
I think it's kind of classy.
I wish more actors
did
something like this because we know them from their iconic roles.
Yeah, we know them from the roles we love them in.
Like, I'm always so underwhelmed when it's just like a normal grave. I mean, good for them for being classy, but like, this is classy too, is what I'm trying to say.
Agree.
This is just,
I love all the details.
it's really well done. He saw pregnancy in people's
I wonder if there's like a whole business that we don't know about in terms of like gravestones.
Probably.
That are like specifically, who did the celebrities reach out to? Do you know what I mean?
There's got to be a business of like A-list celebrities that just, they know who to reach out to.
I have a cemetery guy. I have a headstone guy.
I got a headstone guy.
That would be amazing.
I bet you there is. Now I really
There
want
probably
to know who
is,
that
and I wonder if it's also like for anyone too. It's just more people wouldn't know about it. Like, you'd have to be in like a money or an art crowd where like a cemetery artist, if you will.
Yeah.
This is.
I'm really fascinated to find like who did Don Knotts' headstone.
Who was his headstone guy?
Great job, and maybe we should get into some negotiations.
I agree.
I don't have.
I have a YouTube channel with like a little bit over 100 people, so like we could promote you guys.
Headstone.
Yeah, promote you guys for free while we're still alive. Not for free, but I don't know.
We would have an exchange. Contract.
Yeah, like some money, and then you have to do our headstones when we die.
Reach out to us. We're available.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. There must be. there's got to be someone that knows how to do. I guess it's just like stone artists.
Yeah, I think
you know, but
like that's such a niche Google search,
which we're both gonna obviously do later. Like, there's no way. But I love this. Is a surprise hit for me because, like, I like Don Knotts, but I feel like I don't even at this stage of the game remember a lot of his work.
Yeah.
I feel like I watched a lot of his work when I was like a teenager or younger, and for some reason I haven't come across it as much as an adult.
You know what? In terms of like reruns, and it's not as. But I feel that way with like I Love Lucy too.
Sure,
like, I remember watching I Love Lucy when I was younger, and I
barely watch it as an adult.
But like you don't even see it like in reruns and syndication.
Well, no, especially since we're now in a streaming world too, where we get like, I don't know, suggestions based on what we're already watching. So if we're not watching classic sitcoms on Hulu, it's not going to recommend it to us. So
let me tell you, I'm not watching classic sitcoms.
I'm not either, unless it's like background noise. It's hard in this golden age of television. As much as I love old school, right? Yeah, I love old school sitcoms, but some of them, with their plots being tied up in 30 minutes or less, just kind of drives me nuts. I'm like, that's not life.
Life is not tied up that easily.
No, but
that's why you have Curb Your Enthusiasm. It goes for the whole season and it's still not resolved.
I've weirdly never seen that show. That's the one that's surprising to me. But yeah, I mean, I like Don Knotts. I have good memories of his work, but this is a surprise hit. Sometimes, you know, it's like, oh, cool to grape, whatever. But this is in my top 5, I would say. So may he rest. 2006. That feels
not that long ago.
But yet it's almost 20 years ago.
I don't like the passage of time.
We're going to end this segment here with we don't like the passage of time or mortality for that matter.
Yeah, which is ironic.
All right, we are coming back to you from Truman Capote's grave because we were commenting on this when we first came here. And I found out that Joanne Carson, beloved friends, because that's what we were kind of commenting on.
You're like, what's their dynamic?
Apparently, she's one of Johnny Carson's ex-wives.
One of 4.
Go, Johnny.
I'm still like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel like a lot of old Hollywood, well, and today's Hollywood, are like married so many times.
Like, divorce is not easy. Imagine having to go through that 4 times. Like at a certain
I would
point,
quit after one.
Right? This is what
I don't think I'd get remarried.
I'd just be like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we'll just live together and not like each other.
Right? Seriously. Or just not get married or like I don't know.
I know, I'm like, after a while, the institution of marriage really should just kind of not.
I think you're statistically more likely to get divorced if you've been divorced before too.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Because like the whole thing, marriage isn't 50% of the population. It depends on what, like the younger you are, the more it's more than 50% that you would get divorced.
Oh, really?
And it's also more if you've been married before and divorced.
Yeah.
So it's like not like an even Steven thing. Like it's interesting. Look up divorce statistics. Aren't you glad you tuned into the Cheeriest channel on YouTube? We digress. She was one of Johnny Carson's ex-wives. Was very good friends of Truman Capote and actually hung on to his like belongings and his ashes, and that's why his ashes are in his her crypt with her. Yeah. Which I just thought was like fascinating. They apparently were very good friends, and she kept a lot of his like secrets. And
you gotta have one of those friends.
You do. So I'm kind of happy for them that they had that. So it's still interesting. You have to wonder being buried with a friend. You know, like
are there going to be arguments in the afterlife?
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think they planned it necessarily. I don't know if this is what they for sure had planned, but like, you know, if you wanted to get like a friend crypt, what if you get a new friend and you outlive your dead friend by like decades, or get married and want to be buried with them?
Like, he was gone in 1984, and she
so I guess like this was a choice because she made it so that like, because she had time to think about what to do with his belongings. So you know,
I wonder if like he asked her and then she was like, sure.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what the background of that is, but I'm just saying there's been times where on the show we've made jokes like, "Ooh, look, twin crypts, let's get it," you know, or there's like other weird situations of friends being buried near each other, and it brings up some just interesting dialogues. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's like what happens in the afterlife is being buried next to each other really a precursor to what happens in the rest of the time that you spend. There is even an afterlife.
That'd be so funny if it really was just in the cemetery. That's the afterlife. Or in the sea if you're cremated at sea.
Can you imagine, like, I feel like those would be like old school parties, like in the sea. A lot of drinking.
A lot of creepy
Hopefully
fish.
not a lot of scurvy.
Don't spread me.
I literally was
sea.
thinking of like all of the weird like creatures that
all
you
the
would
skeleton
possibly
fish
hang out with.
I
would be down to hang out. You're not into it. Do you do you like the ocean regularly?
I like being at the shoreline.
Okay, fair enough.
Sometimes I'll swim. It's very cold here. The ocean's weirdly cold here, so
yeah.
I can't say I've gone in the ocean much. But the older I get, the more skeeved out I get by like deep sea.
Yeah. Well, it's creepy, right?
Very creepy.
The funny thing is, like, it's only, I don't know, it's like 20 miles from like top to bottom. Like, that's how deep, like, but that's considered really deep. And for me, for whatever reason, it's like it doesn't.
I thought you were saying 20 feet for a second. I'm like, that's
no.
what that is. I was like,
you would know a lot
miles.
more about the oceans if that were the case. No, but like the really funny thing to me is like having run a half marathon, I'm like, they could get there, and then I'm like, no, wait, that's actually really
because of like the pressure and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so my ashes don't need to be there. That's what I'm hearing.
I just want to know what else is down there. So I'm like, fine if I'm already dead.
Yeah, don't we know more about deep space than the deep sea? Have I heard that before?
I feel like they're neck and neck, yeah.
I don't want to go to space either, but that's a different conversation.
No, I don't want to. I feel like I'd be like alone. It's only, a handful of people who didn't necessarily die in space, but they died like trying to get there. So a lot of people in the sea. We could hang out. It's fine.
Bah! Like anyway. I want a friend grip. No. But no, this touched me when I learned about it, so I'm glad we got to revisit it, because yay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, good for them. Yeah, right, Grim? Grim's like was looking up at Lacy very lovingly.
No, she's like, get my good side.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have Dorothy Stratton, which I want to handle with utmost sensitivity because she is a murder victim, and it's a pretty involved story, so I'm afraid to get some of the details right. But she was also in Playboy, and I find it very fascinating that just up that way is where Hugh Hefner is, and allegedly, I've said some rough things about him on camera. I'm not taking any of it back, but I think he was genuinely very sad at what happened to her.
Yeah.
So it's funny because yesterday I was at Forest Lawn, which will already be out by now by the time you watch this video, and we were just talking about how colleagues sometimes end up close together in cemeteries.
Oh, yeah.
It just happens more often than you think. So just sad story. It's just one of those sad Hollywood stories, going too soon, and nice girl gets taken advantage of.
When she was 20.
So young. It's so young. Yeah. So acknowledging her, but don't want to talk too much about what happened to her because it's her gravesite, But pause to read her long epitaph. It's very sad. So
You're looking for Robert Stack. He is in the room of prayer, which is locked. This is a cremation niche. It's very pretty.
It is very pretty. There's a Robert in there, but I don't think it's him.
Trying to see if we can see him from in here. I didn't realize first time we were here that there was a private room that you need a key to get into. I think I at least overlooked or didn't acknowledge this in my memory.
Yeah, there are kind of like tucked away nooks and crannies here.
It's a very dense city block.
Yes.
This is the private elite building.
The Upper West Side.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking. It's very full in there. Cremation niches.
There's slots available if you're interested, but
Not a lot, so
Not a
act
lot.
fast. You're welcome, Westwood. We're doing your business now. But it's interesting to me because in the center there's niches that are glass cases, which are usually for photos and like maybe trinkets from someone's life, which I personally like a lot. But it's interesting it's in a locked room because you would think that that would be for being remembered. Because the rest are kind of just like in the wall, but
Yeah,
there's...
if your loved one's in there and you want to go and visit, do you have to go to the office and request somebody to open it up for you?
Or do you
Most
get a
likely.
key?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because how would you prove that it's really your family also? But also, what if you were a cousin and didn't have a key and wanted to visit your cousin like 20 years after someone died
It
in the
seems
neighborhood?
complicated.
I have questions about locked everything because Forest Lawn Glendale is like half locked from the public. So,
Oh, wow, yeah.
or at least a lot of the famous people are. Maybe not half the actual grounds, but half of the notable internments are.
Do you wonder, like, how much they have to worry about people, like, disrespecting gravesites here? But I feel like most of the people that want to come and visit the graves here do so out of respect and not
Yeah.
trying to pull anything.
I've never seen anything. I've been at so many
you've been
cemeteries
into
now.
quite a few now, so I
Yeah.
feel like you could say.
I wonder. It's just interesting. So the whole point of having a grave is to, hi baby. The whole part of having a grave is to be remembered.
Right.
So the locked away stuff just,
It's a little confusing.
yeah, it's not a judgment either which way. I just don't totally understand all the reasonings,
And
I
I
suppose.
gotta say, as a fan of Unsolved Mysteries, I'm a little disappointed we can't get in there.
I know. We're having a mystery now. That's unsolved. Why is he locked away? Robert Stack.
I have to tell you
bum, bum, bum.
that my husband got me the Unsolved Mysteries like series on DVD, and we were watching some of them. And there's like I don't even remember where he was, but it was like a haunted hotel, and he's like, "I've been at this hotel all day, and I haven't seen a ghost anywhere." So it's just like this like droll way of pointing out.
Oh, I love
some of
it.
this stuff is cute.
I have to admit, when they rebooted the series with whoever the guy was that wasn't Robert Stack, I couldn't watch it.
Did they actually have a guy?
Yeah, it was some
Remember
guy.
having a guy.
I think there was a
Okay.
different host. Yeah.
Now I have to look this up.
Either way, it was not the same without Robert Stack.
True.
I know he was an actor before Unsolved Mysteries, but for our generation, he is.
I really thought that
The king.
Okay,
I'll confirm it on the font titles, but but we love you, Robert Stack. So
Dude, he
bummer.
just had the perfect demeanor for that series.
He was a presence. He was a persona. So many people want to be a television personality, and I know he was an actor too, but
But it just felt so
you can't
natural
you
with
can't
him.
learn it. Yeah, you can't learn that.
Yeah.
That was just persona. I love it. Everybody loves Doris Roberts, aka Mother of Raymond.
I really loved her.
She was in everything.
She was.
Like, I feel like she was on before Everyone Loves Raymond, like was the mother of one of the parents of every family sitcom.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't she on
I'm
Full
gonna
House or
pull up
something at one point?
her IMDb
All right,
just
let's
to
do it.
because
Let's do it. We just did a
Girlfriend's
deep dive into her IMDb, and
filmography is 294 titles.
that's a working
Doris
actress.
worked, y'all.
That's like, what's cool about her is she had a career
Yeah.
before she was famous. Like a
Yeah.
lot of times, like actors are successful in one of two ways. They're either they get discovered, a huge project, and then that opens up other doors, or they're working and you might not know them. You might start to recognize them if they pop up in enough shows.
Yeah.
But they're making a living, they're getting residuals, they're comfortable. And she had that, and then she had Everyone Loves Raymond.
She was like, I'll do more. Yeah.
Super famous, and she was Step by Step, Full House.
She was
And
in
Lizzie
a ton
McGuire,
of-
you said.
Lizzie McGuire. She was in Rhoda and the Mary Tyler Moore. Like, she's like,
She was in my favorite show, Soap, which I missed, apparently. I didn't recognize her in the 70s.
I mean, she probably looked different. She did look different
Probably,
in the
but I'm
National
good
Lampoon show.
at that, though. I'm good at
movie.
recognizing people
Yeah.
across decades. Where I'm like, why do I know that person?
Yeah.
But I also heard one of my friends, because in Los Angeles we all take classes, and
Yes.
even though we don't know every famous person ever, we know someone who knows a famous person. That's
Totally.
like kind of always how it works, and we know a few famous people ourselves. And somebody told me that she still insisted on taking her weekly acting class every week, even in the height of Everyone Loves Raymond.
Best thing?
It's adorable because it was a work ethic thing. It was a dedication to her craft, and so it was like in her contract. This is an alleged story. I haven't verified it, so forgive me if I'm a little bit wrong. But
I was like, I love these kinds of stories.
Yeah, no, but it's a really it's amazing because she was. It was in her contract, like I on Tuesdays or whatever day have to, be off of work in time to get to my acting group.
Wonderful.
And it just shows that she liked the craft, and it was not about fame or even success within. I mean, we all want to be successful so we can pay bills, but like, she loved the craft. I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
And when her on-screen husband died, from everyone, I forget his name. I watched the show occasionally with my mom, but I'm not like a diehard.
Hold on. Because he was one of my favorites, and I was actually really devastated.
But that's what she said. She said
Boyle.
Okay.
Thank you. I was
Peter
like,
Boyle.
Peter Boyle. Young Frankenstein.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Like, the fact that they got those two, like, comedic giants to be their parents, if anything else, like, I don't know. I think that speaks volumes about the quality of the show. Like, those two people were top-notch actors.
Yeah. And that's what she said. She was like, he had the best one-liners of the show. Like, she was singing his praises. Like, in a classy way, I felt like, after he died. So.
I will never forget Miss Frankenstein. Just never. It's the best.
What's wild though is we're on the same wall as where we found Florence Henderson last time. We're just a little further down, and like those are two TV moms on the same.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is.
I put that together.
I think because I've had a few months off from filming, and I've had some time to process just how much cemeteries I hang out, how many cemeteries I hang out in. It's like all these things are starting to kind of like not weird me out in a bad way, but like the idea of colleagues or maybe people you don't like a lot, and you end up being buried catty corner, or like how just strange it is that all the
kind of doing stuff.
all the I know it's LA, but there's like a million cemeteries, so the odds of having two TV sitcom moms be cremated on the same cremation niche wall, like 12 feet apart, 15 feet apart, is
kind of one of those what are the odds. It's a little weird.
Yeah. So
in conclusion,
I am pretty sure this man made a cameo in the first video, but we kind of went by relatively fast. I think. But
he's one of my husband's favorite authors.
I don't read fiction as an adult, but I remember reading his books in middle or high school and really, really liking them.
Yeah.
So he seems like a thinker,
Yeah, he was a bit of a trailblazer in so much as like he wrote about people and things that weren't being talked about. In his time. And it was so weird, they demolished his house in Los Angeles because he lived in LA instead of turning it into some sort of like historical site, which I thought was a really bizarre choice. But the really cool thing is they were able to auction off pieces of his home. They turned them into book stands, and I got one for my husband.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was like branded with some sort of like special insignia, and it comes with like paperwork, and I was very excited.
Oh wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Assuming his wife. So yes, when we were first here, we did kind of a drive-by of both Merv Griffin and Farrah Fawcett, because it's very overwhelming. And just over there is also Walter Matthau. Rodney Dangerfield's over there. And I remember I just did a quick talking about like how good the epitaphs were, but we also totally glossed over Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
Which, that was my bad.
It's funny that there's nothing on her.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. I wonder if they'll just add more when Ryan O'Neal passes. There's enough room both on the
yeah, it definitely does kind of look like it's
could be a
waiting for something potentially.
Yeah, hard to say, but you think they could at least do her birth and death years, but I don't know.
Since we were last here, I actually watched a biography on her.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, and apparently she was like one of those people that was always beloved in life. Like even as like a teenager or college student, she was just like one of those people that made friends and everyone thought was really pretty, and just one of those dynamic personas, I guess, if you will. And I was like, oh, that was nice to learn. And she documented her cancer journey without vanity because she wanted to like showcase how hard it was and humanize it. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
That
That's
reminds
amazing.
me of how Blair is doing the same thing.
Yes, with her MS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is like actually really brave. Not just in general, because I feel like having to deal with health complications
it's
is
so
just
vulnerable.
such a vulnerable thing.
So
but then
vulnerable.
to add like this weird level of celebrity on top of it,
Yes.
that's just gotta be like a weird double layer of exposure.
Well, especially, I mean, honestly, both of those women, but I mean, Farrah Fawcett has one of the most famous posters of all time. You know, like the red bikini or not bikini, one piece even. And she was just such a sex icon. Like, she really was. And to have such a beautiful, alluring woman document how brutal her cancer was, that is brave. Like, you put it, especially like a woman of her time. I think we're now kind of in a generation where like
that makes more sense. We're being
more
real. We're simultaneously adding more filters and getting rid of them.
right. A filter, but hashtag no filter for the brutal aspects of life. But look at this cool Instagram filter while I talk about it. Yeah, but it's more of a second nature to a lot of people.
Yeah,
I'd say Selma's age and younger, probably. But she was Farrah was like ahead of her time with that, so
definitely.
That felt worth talking about. So that was a sad death. She was still pretty young, wasn't she? Like only 40s or 50s?
Actually, I'm no idea.
I don't know, which the grave is no help, there's no marker, but...
Gosh darn it.
Let us down, Farrah. I don't know, but it was still young, and it was before she was elderly, that's for sure. So I do a drive-by of him again. The more I sit with this epitaph, the more I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I liked it from the jump, but like...
I mean, also
it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. You know, I like it.
He also could have put "I get no respect."
That's what I thought it would have said. That's what I really thought. I still can't get no respect or something. You know, like I don't know.
And that would have been solid too. I'm not gonna lie.
But there goes that's just so understatedly clever.
It is.
And I can't think of any grave like it. So
congratulations, Rodney.
He's another one I got to do a deep dive of his movies. I haven't seen any of his stuff in a really long time, but. Nice work with your grave, dude. Nice work. We got Jim Backus of Gilligan's Island fame. It is landscaping day at the cemetery.
Little did we know.
Yeah, no idea. So we're going to talk about Jim Backus away from his grave because it was just a little too noisy. Gilligan's Island fan?
I'm just gonna... I know. No,
you
not
don't?
really.
Oh, I can tell if you're doing a bit or being sincere.
No.
Not even as a kid, because that's like what
Not
I would
even as a
watch
kid.
when I was a kid on syndication when I was like home from school.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. No. I watched, feel free to judge, but I actually was like totally fine with watching like the Nicktoon Jr. stuff.
Oh, I would watch that too when I was like 12. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I was annoyed by it, but I liked it too.
Yeah.
But between commercials or if there was an extra lame baby show, I'd watch Gilligan's Island.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's definitely a better choice.
It's not the golden age of television, so there's that. Did you know that Sherwood Schwartz tried to recreate magic? I think it was called Dusty's Wheel. And it was with...
I'm already having questions.
It was with... What was Gilligan's real name? I want to say Bob Denver, but that doesn't sound right. That's a musician.
Oh, yeah, that is a musician.
Was his last name Denver, though?
Gilligan Denver?
That was his real name.
Do you want me to look it up for us?
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Man, I was on such a roll of not being a schmuck and mispronouncing and mixing up names for a while.
And then you decided to have
Talk
me
about
come
dinner.
along.
Got into a Gilligan's Island debate.
Yeah. Okay, Gilligan Island. And then we have to figure out the cast. Or what? Oh, it is Bob Denver.
Oh, I was right.
Is the actor.
I was right. Who's the one
Musician that we thought?
that is it in Dumb and Dumber? It's like that John Denver?
Probably.
They're all such
You're gonna have to
conventional
add
names.
so many. Denver's a common name. I do feel very bad for all the editing you're gonna have to do.
I think I'm just gonna keep it as.
Okay, great.
This is funny. I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Bob Denver played a guy named Dusty, and it was with 6 people, and it was in the Wild West, and they got stranded in a ghost town in like the 1800s, and it barely made it past the first season because it
That's
was
a
Gilligan's
wild
Island, but
premise.
the West. But Sherwood Schwartz just recreated Gilligan's Island, but for the West,
Yeah, but
and it wasn't as
how do
good.
you get stranded in the West?
I think they're like, it was in the 1800s, and they're horse and buggy. I did see the pilot. I did see it.
I mean, I guess time-wise that makes sense.
And it was a ghost town already.
Oddly,
That
this
I have questions
reminds
about.
me of the newest Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they go to a ghost town, but everyone has cell phone reception and nobody calls the cops.
Good job.
Makes sense.
Good job.
Anyway,
I guess my roundabout point is Jim Backus was part of the magic of Gilligan's Island that could not be duplicated. It had to be all 7 of them. And it's sad only Tina Louise is still alive, who played Ginger.
oh wow, was she the youngest in the cast? You think?
It was either her or Dawn Wells, who died at the end of 2020 from COVID, who played Marion.
That's odd.
I felt like we killed America's Sweetheart with that one. Because it was LA when we were the epicenter.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people not wearing masks here, so I wasn't very happy. But that one hit me hard. But I mean, Gilligan's Island's not a great show. I'm not going to pretend. But it's
No, but,
nostalgically and pop culture wise,
yeah.
I'm a nerd for it. All
And
the same.
also, like, for what it was at the time.
Yeah. It was a fun little loony adventure that make it make sense. So much clothes for a 3-hour tour.
I feel like, dare I say it? So I'm like, I feel like, you know, it's a little bit of like the Friends phenomenon where it just kind of took off and became this like pop culture thing.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily like the most highbrow.
I don't even think at its time it was more successful than the Brady Bunch. Like the Brady Bunch was mediocre in the ratings, I think. Enough to get renewed for 5 seasons, but it became a bigger animal in syndication as we know it now. Mm-hmm. I think Gilligan's Island, I think it did better, but I don't think it was, I think it's only become more popular.
Over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Sherwood
sense.
Schwartz had that golden touch. Like, I'm going to touch something, and no matter how good or not good it is, it's going to last forever.
People will
That's
watch
his
it.
legacy. So.
It's funny. I think maybe is that around the same time as Norman Lear? No, probably before.
That's All in the Family?
Yeah.
I think
Like One
that was
Day at a
later.
Time.
That was later 70s. I think,
Yeah, I think so.
Brady Bunch started in technically
He
1969.
also has that kind of sitcom power.
Absolutely. Yeah. First just drove by. I got distracted.
I didn't even notice the hearse.
Because you're a professional.
Would we say that?
I would.
Thank you, Claire.
We found a beach boy, and Grimmy's very vocal. I guess she's singing songs right now. Fun, fun, fun. That was my first favorite song, Fun, Fun, Fun.
Oh, really?
I would chase my imaginary friend around, listening to it all the time, probably driving my parents. That's so cute. But, oh my God, I love the Beach Boys.
You Beach Boy fan?
I'm not a Beach Boy. Like,
Gotcha.
how do you not like the Beach Boys?
Right.
But I'm not like going out of my way to.
I think like most any kind of classic rock and pop, it's easier when you're younger. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of older stuff. Like, I love older music, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the more classic stuff our parents listened to, I liked a lot more as like a kid or an adult.
Definitely.
And then you go into deeper dives of different genres, you know, and get more jazzed about that stuff. But the Beach Boys I've kind of come back to in recent years.
Yeah.
Because they are fun.
They are very fun. And summer's coming up, and how do you not listen to the Beach Boys at the beach?
Right. We're in California. We're California girls.
Like, yeah, it's like endemic to the culture here. So it's kind of cool.
Yes.
It's yours.
It is. I think I knew that when we were first here, but again, so overwhelmed by everyone we just randomly stumbled upon. We didn't even look at the list at a certain point. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also like, I mean, you know the Wilsons are the Beach Boys, but Wilson's also a common last name too.
Very
So
true, yeah.
it's possible we walked over it and it didn't register. So I'm excited
We were able to find quite a few here today.
Yeah,
I
with
thought,
relative
maybe
ease.
it would be a little more difficult because we didn't come across them the first time, but
I think we were just so overwhelmed, and we did it in 2 hours too. We were on a time crunch. We both had somewhere to be last time. So like we did a lot in a little time, and this is so small that it's not hard to stumble upon. It's not impossible,
right.
to like just.
Speaking of which, we just came across Donna Reed's gravestone.
So we're gonna go back to that because we separated. So we're gonna go
Divide
split
and
up.
conquer.
Yes. We're looking for a few people, and this whole ground section is section D.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but it's the largest section of the cemetery,
And it
so
has a lot of people in it.
yeah.
Like literal bodies and also the
Ashes.
ones that we're looking for.
Yeah. There's also the whole ashes thing over there too. It's
Yeah.
all little plaques around the tree. It's a little chaotic. That's my least favorite feature of the cemetery.
Oh really? I kind of like it.
It just stresses me out. I don't know why.
You know why? Probably because in terms of remembering people, it's really hard because it's all just kind of rows
Yeah.
and columns, and you would have
It's
to go-
uneven. It's
Yeah.
just taking over the grass entirely. So
We'll talk to them.
where's the manager? We found Donna Reed.
From the Donna Reed show.
I never saw. I know it from Gilmore Girls that they had a big
Oh.
talk about Donna Reed and like
That's
women
so
roles,
funny.
and then it turns out she was one of the first women producers or
That's
something.
awesome.
So
I didn't realize that. I just remember her from It's a Wonderful Life.
Eva Gabor.
We found her.
Oh, she died on July 4th. It's crazy. I think she's the only one of her family in here.
I think so too. I mean, there's grass on all of these headstones now.
Yeah, they don't look like they're
But
immediate
they're no
connections though.
Other Gabors. Yeah, it feels kind of random.
A little bit.
Is she Miss Bianca in The Rescuers? The funny thing is, I think she is.
Bianca, she just looks like a Bianca.
She got typecast as a Bianca. I really think, yeah, she's Miss Bianca in both. Is that right?
I just turned it on. We were trying to look up her IMDb to make sure we got her very long career correct.
Oh, she's Miss Bianca in The Rescuers, but she's the Duchess because she's the mama
Okay.
cat.
Gotcha. She was in, amongst other things, a lot of Disney movies, like The Voices of, which
Sadly,
we appreciate.
that's where I know her
But we
But
were
not.
we were noticing she doesn't have her birth date on there either, which I wonder if that was like a vanity thing. Like no one can know how old I am, because she would have been of that time where women lied
That's
about their age
true.
in Hollywood.
And the funny thing about now is like we can look it up, but that would have taken some investigative work.
Back in the day, yeah.
It's
That's
not
why
easy information to come by.
I mean, I still lie about my age. Like,
Oh, I know
53. I'm
you do.
53.
How many years are you going to be 53?
Tell I'm 53.
53 there.
Tell I'm 53. How many years away that is undisclosed, but I've been doing it for 3 years straight.
Wait, okay, and then when you turn 53, what's the
No one's
plan,
gonna
though?
believe me. No one's gonna believe me.
It's just going to be like, no.
Blair,
do-
you've been 53 for like decades.
But then what happens when you become 53? What's your plan then?
It's gonna be like my big birthday, I guess.
This is the real deal, folks.
I'm normalizing turning 53.
I gotta tell you, I have big plans for my 50th because I love Molly Shannon. So I'm gonna get the tracksuit and I'm just gonna go around the party stretching and yelling, I'm 50 years old.
What's that from?
Saturday Night Live.
She did. I don't remember that at all.
Oh, yes. She has like a bouffant black wig. Being like, I'm 50.
You're big 5'0" and my big 5'3".
Yeah.
We look forward to our 50s. Women, don't be afraid of aging.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very pumped. It'll most likely be a Saturday Night Live themed.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
It's gonna be lit, you guys. Let me know if you want to come. It will be for a really long time.
She's nowhere near 50.
But I got plans. And by then, the reference will be even more bizarre. Like, oh, that's from like the really old Saturday Night Lives. Yes, I know.
Who knows though? Some of them live in infamy and pick up steam later, so you never know.
You never know. It's very true.
The weed whacker's really loud, but here's Janet Leigh, Psycho. It is the least peaceful day here at the cemetery I've ever been to. It's very loud, even trying to get away from the weed whacker, but I think it's following us.
Following us, yeah.
Who did we see? Janet Leigh.
Yes.
So, yeah, I only really know her from Psycho and being Jamie Lee's mom.
Yeah.
I'm not as well versed as I should be, but I know she's legendary.
She is. The really funny thing is, they had a release of the newest Halloween. And at the premiere, Jamie Lee dressed up as her mother for the Halloween, like, because it was around Halloween. So she wore the iconic, like,
That's amazing.
two-piece suit.
That's amazing.
I just love, I know that we talk about, like, you know, kids that are just kind of born into Hollywood privilege, but some of it I'm like all about, and that's one of them, as well
She
as
did it right, I feel like.
I like that,
Yeah.
and also Carrie Fisher
Yeah.
and her daughter Billie Lourd. How did that come to me so easily?
Also, Carrie Fisher's mom was Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
So I feel like that family can do no wrong, and I feel like the Leighs, I'm like all about it.
No, there's some really good ones, for sure. I'm not automatically, if they're talented and kind, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Because there's a lot of, I'm not going to name names, I'll tell you offhand who I'm thinking of, but like off camera. But there are people who are the sons and daughters of famous people.
Yeah.
And they might get to be in a movie, but they don't end up having huge careers.
Right.
And it's not necessarily lack of talent, it's just one of those things that you don't know when lightning's going to strike, you know, and when people are going to become a huge thing. So nepotism only gets you so far. So Jamie Lee was, okay, night, Grimmy. I feel like she's worked really hard and got lucky with audiences loving her, and nice work if you can get it. I don't like being a hater.
Same.
For anyone, really. I don't know.
It's not worth it. And then we saw Jack. Did you get that? Jack Klugman? Did you get that grave?
I don't know if I did. I don't think I was still taping.
It was right there, though. And I was like, that name sounds familiar. And it was one of the people who took over the role of Oscar in The Odd Couple for the sitcom. And he's been in like so much, though. He was also in 12 Angry Men and also in a lot of episodes.
My 12-pound dog is like pushing me around right now.
It's okay.
I'm gonna get comfy.
She knows how to work the situation to finish.
Like, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna take it all over.
Yeah, he was in a lot of episodes of The Twilight Zone. And it's just funny because Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon are
Right there.
right in the same area. So it's just like an Odd Couple family reunion.
In the cemetery. It's mind-boggling how many people are buried near people that they knew on purpose or otherwise.
Yeah. Again,
At every cemetery.
I think there's probably a lot of PR that we don't know about that goes on around like celebrities dying and like where do they get buried and who's gonna be there.
I wonder.
Imagine.
Well, you know, Bob Saget passed away between filming on my hiatus from this, and it's interesting to me because he had a private funeral, but it ended up being 200 or 300 people. So I was like, how, like, did they just expect not a lot of people were going to come? Did they invite everyone out of courtesy? Did people find out about
That's a
it
good
and
question.
come. Yeah. Funeral etiquette for famous people. What's the rules?
Man, I can't even imagine though. Like, it's overwhelming in and of
Yeah.
itself when somebody passes away, and then to have to juggle like
Yeah.
invitations on top of that.
And
for,
just like grieving
a bunch of
publicly.
people. Yeah.
Like, I'm glad his family won they filed
Yes.
to get the
the
investigation.
autopsy and investigation stuff.
And I don't think it's anything shady. I'm sure conspiracy theories will be born of it, but let them have their privacy.
I mean, I think that's what it ultimately comes down to, right?
Yeah.
It's just like asking for respect at a really hard time.
If they want to dig into it, if they feel like there was something foul play, they will do that.
Right.
He was beloved. He had kids, he had a wife, he had friends.
Yeah.
Let them do it privately.
We thought we were donezo, but we found Bob Crane, who I knew was here, but I haven't really watched his stuff, so I didn't. My rule of thumb is to always, like, if I have stuff to say, that's a priority, but I know he was like a respected television star, and we happened to just stumble upon him, so I'm documenting him.
Wow, she lived much later on.
Good 40 years almost, 30 years?
2007 was when she passed away,
Yeah,
and he passed away in
78.
78. Wow.
Wow, almost 30 years.
It's kind of sweet that they're together.
Yeah, I stopped on this because it was just such a cool photo. I'm like, oh, this was probably somebody in the industry. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Bob Crane. Right.
Funny.
May he rest. All right, so the people that we missed were Frank Zappa and Roy Orbison, who both have unmarked graves. And apparently with Frank Zappa, they thought they knew where his grave was, but now I guess, according to the internet, there's a new plaque that's not Frank Zappa.
Which is awkward.
It's kind of like the Kobe Bryant thing. Did I ever tell you about that? Did you ever watch that episode? Like
I think we talked about it.
Yeah, because he has a grave that the internet thinks is his grave, but it's very clearly not. There's another woman in it that seems to have no relation to the Bryants. So, can't trust everything on the internet, guys. So, whether Frank Zappa is actually here or not, I don't know. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I'm sure that's the first time you've heard this brand new information that the internet is sometimes false. But I think
there have been several factual errors in this episode alone.
it's creepy and kooky. It's factually incorrect.
Claire does her best to make sure.
I try to correct. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
try to correct when I realize I'm wrong. But it's interesting to me that it's two musicians.
Yeah, I do think that there's a different, like, it's a different kind of celebrity, and it's probably a different, like, mindset in terms of. Sometimes I feel like musicians are the kind of artists that actually prefer their anonymity because.
Well, because oftentimes, I don't know why this is, because all of show business is an art form, but music is art.
Yeah.
And I can see that not always overlapping with fame
Right.
the way it would for acting.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Well, it's more, I feel like it's more, like we were talking about earlier about Doris, it's more about the craft than it is about the fame.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but I think, I don't know, I think there comes a certain level of commitment.
Well, I mean, I think I'm not even the world's largest Frank Zappa fan, but like he was an eccentric guy.
Oh, yeah.
He strikes me as a true artiste. You know, like he was
Yeah,
doing
if anyone's
his
going
thing.
to have an unmarked grave.
It checks out. It checks out. He might not even be here. He could be trolling us, you know?
Yeah, it's a long haul.
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. Roy Orbison does surprise me a little. Well, it surprises me that Frank Zappa is allegedly here, because he's the which one's not like the other
Right.
of the internments here, in my opinion. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just neutral. It just
Right.
you don't think Hollywood, Marilyn Monroe, Frank Zappa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a sentence I thought I'd say. Roy Orbison, though, he gets kind of left out of like major musicians of the 60s,
Yeah.
I feel like, but he, Pretty Woman, Anything You Want, You Got It. I know there's others. That sort of surprises me he has an unmarked grave.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And I do wonder if it's like a choice
A
or
miscommunication with paperwork or
something, because I would totally respect it if it's a choice, but if it's just a, well, sorry.
I think you're officially my reoccurring guest where there's just unmarked or unclear graves. people walked in. I was trying to say that. It just dawned on me, like literally 2 seconds before I started to say it. I think you're my only guest, and now at 2 different cemeteries where we're kind of looking for like unmarked graves, because we had Audra Lindley, I think that's her name, from Three's Company at the Santa Monica Cemetery. That's just like her dad's grave headstone, and her ashes are on top or something.
Yeah.
So that like weirdly has not happened. I don't think so. The only thing I can think of is like the locked graves at like
but those aren't
Porcelain or whatever.
Unmarked. They're just
we know where they are. We just can't get to
inaccessible.
them. Or like I couldn't take a photo at Elizabeth Taylor's grave, but we found it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if there's anything I'm
that's
thinking
funny.
of, but I think because it's like celebrities, so it's people.
Yeah, who want people to know them.
Yeah, so it's I don't know how we keep being in episodes where this happens.
Jammy.
That was accident. The sunglasses were not on accident. We did coordinate, but the unmarked graves we did not realize is like our theme of creepy and kooky. So
Yeah. I also think it's interesting because we were talking about like, planning for death and all of that stuff and what you want to have happen when you pass away. And I'm sure those conversations were not happening. Like, they're still not happening.
Oh yeah,
as
no
much,
one wants to
but,
talk
like,
about that stuff.
most likely absolutely not happening in like the 60s.
No, because it was probably macabre.
Right?
Or
like,
morbid.
Taboo.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
You can't talk about that because what if you drop dead the next day?
So that's why we talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, right? Exactly the point, folks.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So I don't know. It's stuff happens though. So that does it for today. It was a little louder than we thought, but still relatively pretty successful, all things considered. So
Yeah.
it was good to come back with you here. I didn't know
for having me
initially
again.
that you would be, because I don't always bring guests back to the same cemetery since we went to a different one. But I don't know, the more we were talking over time, because we're friends in real life. I did Thanksgiving with her family. Like, we're like real friends. But yeah, like, it's like, oh, it makes sense that we do this again. And it's just like, yeah. So Grimmy's going to bed, apparently. Grimmy's over this. She's nap time for Grimmy.
She's just here for the food. There's Crafty, real dog Crafty.
She wishes. But stay alive till next time. Bye.